Hello and welcome back to Cars.co.za. I'm David Taylor and I'm reviewing something that many of you have asked about. It's the Omoda C9, the plug-in hybrid flagship. Now, before we get stuck in, there are over 350 Omodas for sale, but there's also 75,000 vehicles for sale on Cars.co.za. See, we're so much more than just a YouTube channel. Now, if you're wanting to buy an X3 plug-in hybrid from BMW or the Volvo XC60 T8 plug-in hybrid, I think the next few minutes should be mandatory watching. I think you'll find the results will surprise you. Right, music. Cars.co.za. Now, as we're all aware, the Chinese have come in and taken a massive majority slice of the car market. If you think of the affordable B segment, C segment SUVs priced from about $350, and then you start dipping into the premium stuff at up to about $750, the Chinese have dominated. And you look at brands like Haval and Chery, and they've just completely taken over, much to the annoyance and detriment of the legacy brands. But it was inevitable. The Chinese have said, right, we've done that market, now what else can we start taking over? And pushing into the premium space was always going to happen. And we've seen it before. GWM Tank 500, you know, that massive off-roader Prado rival. And slowly and surely, we're already seeing brands going, let's also have a go at the premium segment. And one of them is this, the Omoda C9 plug-in hybrid. And in my opinion, this segment is ripe for a takeover because given the current financial situation with people embarking on the buy down trend, people want German premium, but they no longer can afford German premium payments. So the result is people are changing brands and going for angles like straight value for money. They're prepared to sacrifice the premium badge on the nose for just more car for your money. And the Chinese brands are here for that, and they're ready to take full advantage. And the Omoda C9, it's not going to just stand in isolation. There's going to be a number of products from the Chery Group playing in this high-end plug-in hybrid space. I mean, think of Lepus, I think it is. They're going to be launching in South Africa in 2026. Plus, there's going to be a Chery Tiggo 9, which I understand to be the mechanical sibling to the Omoda C9 plug-in hybrid. But if you have R1 million and you want to play in the premium plug-in space, your go-to choices would be the BMW X3 plug-in hybrid, very good car that won a Cars Awards category. And you can also consider the Volvo XC60 T8, also really, really good cars. But the kicker is they're a lot more expensive than the Omoda C9. So, game on. So, this Omoda C9 plug-in hybrid, what exactly have we got here? Well, the C9 family, there's three models. There's a front-wheel drive, there's an all-wheel drive, and then there's this, the all-wheel drive Explore plug-in hybrid. There's only one plug-in hybrid, and I think the other two, they're nice, but the money and the attention should be all on the plug-in hybrid. And yes, the price is exactly 999,000 Rand. See, 1 million, it sounds like a lot, but 999,000 sounds a little bit less. So it's all about the mind. So what exactly do you get for your fraction under R1 million? And I'm going to say everything. I mean, every day I've been driving this car, I've been discovering something new. Heated seats, easy. How about heated seats for everyone? There's ventilated seats for the front two passengers. There's a heated steering. There's features that I hadn't even thought that I really needed until I had them. There's a speaker system in the headrest. In-car phone calls have never been this clear. And right now, some lovely lady called Sabrina Carpenter is whispering things about espressos and coffee. Like it's a really cool feature, this. And another thing I've discovered, I didn't know I needed it, but it's interesting and fun nevertheless. The car has a fragrance dispenser. The natural fragrances from Omoda. Natural, pure, and sport. Find one that involves you. I mean, it's ridiculous, but again, it's a gimmick, or is it? I don't know, I like the smell of the fresh aromas coming through the cabin. It's something different. Let's talk about performance and economy. Now, there's a lot to get through here because these plug-in hybrids are really complex. Now, I'd forgive you for calling us plug-in Cars.co.za because it feels like all we've been driving of late, plug-in everything. You've seen the BYD Shark drag race and off-road video. You've seen Chero's Jaku J7 SHS video. You've seen my Cherry Tiggo. These are all plug-in hybrids, and now we've got yet another one. Now, if you weren't aware, plug-in hybrids are basically you have an electric battery combination paired to a petrol engine. So the idea is that in low-speed situations, you can use the battery system and tootle around town, and at higher speeds, the petrol engine will kick in. And impressively, you can drive either or both, and it's pretty awesome. I mean, the benefits are great. Lower fuel consumption and a lot more accelerative performance. Accelerative, that's a posh word, don't you think? In the case of the Omoda C9, we have a 1.5 turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol engine that's located where the engines usually are. And there's not one, not two, but 3 electric motors. Now, mechanical specifics are hard to come by, and I've been trying to understand exactly how this powertrain works. But the way I read it is that there's 2 electric motors located on the gearbox itself, plus there's a big electric motor driving the rear wheels. Speaking of gearbox, it may feel like there's only 1 speed here, but there's actually a 3-speed hybrid transmission. Now for the party piece, how much power do you think the Omoda C9 PHEV has? I was staggered when I saw these outputs. 440 kilowatts, 915 Newton meters. At which point you're going, just how fast is this thing? As well as being efficient, obviously. Now, Omoda claims 0 to 100 in 4.9 seconds. Now, one morning, plugged the car into the draggy testing equipment, which I use for all our test vehicles, headed out over to our regular stretch of road, and the car promptly did 4.89 to 100. And there's 100. But critically, plug-in hybrids are all about the economy. Now, we've seen this all before, plug-in hybrids claiming fantastic figures, because once that battery's done, then the fuel economy goes through the roof and it drinks like a teenager at a bar during happy hour. What does Omoda actually say? So officially, according to the brochure, 1.4 liters per 100, and when the battery is discharged, 6.9 liters per 100. So I think those are to be taken with a pinch of salt, and I'm happy to report that we've done a lot of testing. And I have what the kids would call the receipts. It's giving receipts, and I've taken screenshots of testing the car both with the battery full and with the battery discharged, and they are on the screen right now, before and after. Look at that, those are great figures. And in comparison to the non-plug-in hybrid version of the Omoda C9, the PHEV wipes the floor with them. Not only is it faster, but it uses half the fuel. So I think the initial premium above the standard cars is well worth the outlay. Now, plug-in hybrid specifics aside, can this Omoda C9 actually car? Like, what is it like to drive? And if I was to use a specific word, I would say plush. I could see how Omoda said, you know what guys, we need to make something premium, let's make it drive premium. And the secret here is the adaptability. There's a number of driving modes here, and there's adaptive dampers. So not only can I adjust the suspension softness, so if I can put it into eco, it's all marshmallowy and lovely. If I put it into sports, the dampers firm up and it's quite rigid. I would say it's a little too firm for day-to-day driving in sport, and sport is best used just for those straight line hilarious blasts. But leave it in normal, leave it in eco, and you've actually got a well-sorted, well-balanced premium SUV. I like the ability that I can change the steering feel. A lot of the standard comfort steering settings on these cars, they're so vague and soft, but you're turning the wheel and the car doesn't really feel that confident. Put it into sport, and suddenly the car's got a lot more weighting on the wheel. It's a lot more direct, and there's actually a touch of engagement here. Now, as I go through this bend here, I can just toss it in, and I think it handles better than you think a 2.2 premium family SUV would generally behave. Another thing I've noticed is the brake feel. Now, a lot of the modern cars, they're drive-by-wire. So you push the pedal talks to a computer, then the computer activates the brakes. Gone are the days where you have a physical cable connecting pedal to engine or pedal to brake. And yes, the brakes were a little bit weird. I felt them a bit spongy or wooden. And cleverly, Omoda has said, you can adjust that. So you can dive into the settings and go, I want sport brakes. And it sounds a bit counterintuitive, doesn't it? I want sportiest brakes, but it actually makes a difference. All this brake adjustability talk brings me to how complex this car is. And there's part of me that thinks that majority of customers won't actually bother to learn all the intricacies. I mean, I certainly would, because I'm that kind of guy. I like to poke around and prod and push buttons and see what does what. And I could just scroll through all of these things. Overspeed warning, intelligence avoidance, driver detection system, rear collision. There's so much tech to go through here. Now, how do you charge a plug-in hybrid? One of the biggest criticisms of battery electric vehicles, your normal EVs, is, oh, I need to find a charger. But you can always just charge at home, and the same rules apply with this. Yes, of course, you can pop over to your local mall's fast charger. This vehicle, unlike its rivals, supports DC fast charging. It's not very fast, mind you, but the fact that it's got DC fast charging from public chargers beats its rivals, and I appreciate that. And if you want to find a DC charger, suppliers like Grid Cars are plugged into, see what I did there, into Google Maps, and they're a lot easier to find. Of course, and what we've been doing is to use the charge at home functionality on AC. Now you can just simply plug the adapter into the wall, 3-prong plug, and leave it overnight. And there you'll get 60 to 70 kilometers of range on a 3 kilowatt plug. We're quite lucky at Cars.co.za because we've got an AC powerful charger. Now the debate at the office rages because we don't know if it's a 22 kilowatt charger with 2 plugs or it's 11 either way. But the reality is we can plug this Omoda C9 in and we get around 6.5, 6.8 kilowatts every hour, and that means I can fill this 34 kilowatt hour battery in about 5 to 6 hours. A full battery on pure EV will give you 150 kilometers, which is just fantastic. Again, it beats its rivals. Most of the rivals, the XC60 and the X3, they can just manage, I think it's just over 100 each. And here we've got 150 claimed, and the computer actually says 150 of EV range. Now, with a plug-in hybrid, you don't want to be driving 150 kilometers and just burn that battery. You actually want to be using the petrol every now and then to top it up. And this is where Omoda shines, because you've got the petrol 1.5 turbo working alongside the electric motor, and they claim almost 1,200 kilometers. Now, I take these claims with a pinch of salt. I really don't believe them because there's so many variables. Quality of road, wind, is the road uphill, is the road downhill? Now, in our testing, we've driven this car in a lot of urban environments, and we've done, based on my calculations, we've done over 900 kilometers, and we still haven't touched the petrol reserve yet. I still have 156 kilometers of petrol left, and the battery is down to 25. Now, it's a downhill here, so I'm going to try charge up as we go, but the point still stands. The range offered by Chinese plug-in hybrids is getting better and better, and it's really impressive.
The Omoda C9 offers charging rates of 70 kilowatts for DC fast charging and 6 kilowatts for AC, but let's talk about the cost to run and own. The C9 has a 34.5 kilowatt hour battery pack, and on your screen now is a cost to charge, plus how much it costs to run per kilometer. For what it's worth, we're getting an average electric consumption of around 18 kilowatt hours per 100.
Welcome to the exterior design of the Omoda C9. I mean, look at this weather, by the way. It feels like summer. Yes, we're still at the end of July, but it's all about the design of the C9. And the first thing you've noticed is this matte paint. How cool is that? It reminds me of some of those fighter jets, you know, those stealth jets. And I'm loving the angles. These lights, these daytime running lights, and these lights, by the way, they're not just for headlights. There's actually a really nice light bar, and you get a full light show at night. On closer inspection though, I see a lot of elements of Lexus RX and Range Rover. And yes, before many of you start typing, oh, this is just a Range Rover from Temu, which is very rude, by the way, but also I'd like to clarify that. Now, for a Western car maker to sell vehicles in China, they need to sign a joint venture with a local manufacturer. And truth be told, Chery Group signed with Jaguar Land Rover. So now there's a lot of platform sharing, there's tech sharing and so on. Chery Group actually makes Jaguar Land Rover products in China. I've seen the factory. I've seen Jaguar XFs and Range Rover Evoques coming off the line for the Chinese market, made by Chery. And the result of such a joint venture is that you'll get to see a lot of design elements on both Jaguar Land Rovers and now on the Chery Group. So for example, one of my favorite ones, these Range Rover Sports style door handles. Lock the car and they sit flush with the body. Very, very cool. The Omoda C9 is marketed as a premium family SUV. Now, to fulfill this role, it needs to have a large, spacious boot. At this price point of just under R1,000,000, it needs to have the nice things. Nice things like automated tailgate. Now, unfortunately, there's no spare wheel because there's cables and a tire puncture repair kit, but you know how we roll at Cars.co.za, it's not a proper thorough boot test unless we have the budget cooler boxes. And get in touch with them, link in the description for a preferential insurance rate. For what it's worth, Omoda claims 660 litres of boot space with the seats up. You can fold the seats down if you're carrying larger items such as kayaks and skis and mountain bikes. I don't know what you people carry, but you can carry them if you want. Right, cooler box test, here we go. I think it's quite shallow over here. I can't actually get the cooler box and the cover over. So that's going to make life interesting. But in terms of size, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I would say 4 across, 3 at the back. I'd say 7 cooler boxes. That's a solid jaw, I must say. Welcome to the interior of the Omoda C9. Now, as I mentioned, this is the Explore derivative, so you're going to have all the bells and whistles included. Now, luxuries like the 12-speaker Sony surround system, this pano roof, leather seats, heated ventilated seats, that's just basic fare. I mean, that's expected at this price point. Perceived build quality, it's not bad. I mean, there's quite a bit of gloss plastic, which is not my favorite because you get fingerprints on it, but I'm just going to do that, which then exposes 2 cup holders and a neat little storage area. There's a lot of gadgetry here. Wireless charging pad, 50 watt, I might add. So if your phone can support it, you'll have your phone charged very quickly. One of my favorite features, now, but first we have to face facts. Like, smash and grab crime is problematic. And one of the things I enjoy is that not only can your cell phone be tucked away on the wireless charging pad here, but you can also charge it down under here. And this, for me, has got an extra benefit, being you're not distracted by your phone while driving. So you can plug it in, there's a USB-A, there's a USB-C, and you can just get on with it. I see a dash cam, you just need to insert a micro SD card, you're good to go. In terms of ergonomics, the seating position hasn't been my favorite, and it's taken me some time to try get that perfect position, and I haven't quite got there yet, but there's a lot of adjustability. I understand it's 8-way adjustable. As I mentioned, heated, ventilated. There's also heated steering wheel, and the materials used, this feels nice. When it comes to screens, I think Omoda's done a fair job on the digital instrument cluster. That's pretty clear. I would like the speedometer a little bit bigger, but it gets the basics done. And then there's this nice crisp infotainment screen, and it's in one big flush unit over here. As I mentioned, this car costs just under R1,000,000, so you get lots of extra features. There's a very crisp, very clear head-up display. There's also the driver monitoring system. Now, this has been something that we've had issues with in the past, but I would like to believe that the software has been improved for this iteration of C9. It's not bonging as much, and now you've seen videos how much Chiro loves to hate rather, a bong. And this one hasn't shouted at me that much. So maybe I'm becoming a better driver, maybe the car system has been improved, maybe it's both. One of the things that pleases me immensely is there's less reliance on full touchscreen integration. And what that means is there's actually physical buttons here. And look at this, I've got 3 rotary dials here. This is nice, I can change my temperature just like that. Let's get it down to 17. 17 is pretty sweet. I've got my driving modes over here. I can flick through those. Eco, normal, let's leave it on Eco. And then blower speed on the climate control over here. So simple yet so effective. I don't understand why we need to put everything in a touchscreen. I mean, you just land up being so distracted. Things I would have liked to have seen in the Omoda C9. Now, I've spoken about the efficiency. Now, you'd think something with such a focus on efficiency and economy, you'd have more than just this very rudimentary trip computer. All it tells me is last 50 kilometers, average energy consumption, and then a liters per 100 for petrol and how much electricity we've used. And somehow they've added those two figures together to come up with a third figure. And I think if you're playing in the plug-in space, you've got a real focus and an interest in how low you can go, what's your battery consumption, and so on. And I would have liked to have seen more information on that. The new energy settings, you can do so much on the side already, but I wish for more. One thing I do appreciate though is there's also vehicle to load. So like another Chinese brand that rhymes with Li, you can also plug stuff in like your coffee machines, your laptops, and charge and so on. Welcome to the rear cabin space of the Omoda C9 plug-in hybrid. Now, you know the brief, it has to fulfill a premium family SUV. I want you to focus on this legroom. Look how much legroom I have. Now, I'm 1.91 meters tall. Look how much space I have. Yeah, that is great. Headroom, not the best, but there's a party trick because the rear seats are adjustable. So now while Sean gets all the cutaways, I can just recline like that and enjoy a nap. There's genuine good space here. I'd also like to point out really nice things like heated seats, and when it's summer, ventilated seats. So just power those down. I've got my own climate controls down here. I can also charge my devices. I have USB-A, USB-C. But if you want to be driven in this car, the best place to be is actually in this seat, diagonally opposite the driver, because there's a control here and you can actually just move the passenger seat all the way forward. So then you have all this legroom. This is almost business class, something you don't get in Sapphire. Right, thoughts, summary, conclusion. Have I enjoyed my time here? Yes, I have. The Omoda C9 PHEV brings a lot of joy to my face. Like, this is a really, really cool car. I think it's the best driving vehicle from Omoda right now. It really delivers a premium experience. And I think this is appropriate because it's costing R1 million. You're paying R1 million for a car, you expect R1 million worth of car. Now, Omoda may not be a legacy brand yet, and it may not have the pedigree of its established European rivals like BMW with its X3, the locally made plug-in hybrid version specifically, or the Swedish legend, the Volvo XC60. But it can more than match up to those European offerings. It's faster, it's more efficient, and plus there's so much value on offer. The amount of standard features and equipment at this price point is staggering, and this has been the Chinese strategy. Yes, we can match the brands on value for money as well as standard features, but now the powertrain technology has caught up. This is a genuinely good car. Well, I've been struggling to find faults on this car, and yes, the menu system is a bit all over the place, but truth be told, I've only had this car for a couple of days just to really get my head around it, and I think customers will eventually grow accustomed to the layouts and ergonomics. Another thing that worries me, and I'd be lying if I didn't mention it, this high-tech motor is seriously complex. Not only do you have a 1.5 turbo petrol, which requires its standard normal maintenance, but it has 3 electric motors. Now, the car's great now. The car's got 2,300 Ks on the clock, and we've really enjoyed our time. We've had no warning lights, nothing out of the ordinary. But what is this car going to be like with 50,000 Ks on the clock? What's it going to be like in 7 years' time with 100,000 Ks on the clock? So then we have to start looking at the warranty. Are you taking a gamble here, or will the brand cover you in any eventualities? And fortunately for you, the consumer, you are covered. So this brings me to the critical part of after-sales warranty and service plan. Now, Omoda is selling this car with a whole bundle of warranty and extras and information, and it's too long to list. We're going to put all of that in the graphics. But for me, the takeaway is 7-year warranty, 7-year service plan. In those 7 years, you can afford to take the gamble, I think. And on that note, that's my summary and take on the Omoda C9 plug-in hybrid. Really impressive car, guys. I think if you're shopping in a premium plug-in hybrid segment, I think you do well to have a second look at this car. It's better than you would expect. And if you want to buy an Omoda, we have over 350 of them for sale on Cars.co.za. And remember, we're not just a really cool YouTube platform, and we're not just social media. We actually buy and sell vehicles. Right now, we have over 75,000 vehicles for sale. We have an app, both for Apple iStore and the Huawei App Gallery, as well as the Google Play Store. So go find your new car. You can also WhatsApp the dealer. It's as easy as that. I will see you in the next review. Okay, bye.
Let's find what moves you. Cars.co.za.
Hello, now I have been asked to tell you about Cars.co.za because I work here. Now on the site right now, you will find 72,000 cars to choose from, which is quite a lot. And yes, most of them are used cars. However, a significant number, many of them, an exact number of which I don't know and head office didn't tell me, but a lot of them are brand new cars and demos. So whether you are looking for a used car, a new car, or a demo, you'll find what you're looking for on Cars.co.za. Check out our mobile site, our desktop site, and our fantastic free app in whichever app store you use.